How do we say a, some, and many, or a lot of in Spanish? The words for a, some, and many, or a lot of in Spanish are these. Remember, we have masculine and feminine forms for articles, adjectives, and nouns, and these are indefinite articles. So, for a or an, the masculine form is un. For example, un museo, a museum. The feminine form is una. For example, una tienda, a shop. For some, the masculine form is unos. For example, unos museos, some museums. And the feminine form is unas. For example, unas tiendas, some shops. For many or a lot of, the masculine form is muchos. For example, muchos museos, many museums. And the feminine form is muchas. For example, muchas tiendas, many shops. Some more examples. If I want to say a restaurant in Spanish, it's masculine. So I'm going to say un restaurante. If I want to say some restaurants, as I know it's masculine, I'm going to choose unos restaurantes. And as you can see, it's very important that because it's plural, unos, I also add the S in restaurants. I need to do agreements. So the same for muchos. If I want to say many restaurants, I will say muchos restaurantes. And again, I am adding that S because it's plural. However, if I want to talk about squares, in Spanish, square is feminine. So I'm going to choose una if I want to say a square. Una plaza, a square. If I want to say some squares, I'm going to choose the feminine form, unas plazas. And again, I make it plural because I'm talking about more than one square. And if I want to say many squares, I will say muchas plazas. Again, feminine and plural. So copy this table in your book because it's very important. You have 1 minute. Let's see how to use I to say what there is or there are in our city. So we're going to start saying I, and then we're going to add the place in town. But we need to add the article, rather un, una, unos, unas, muchos, or muchas. And that's going to depend on what we want to say as well as the gender of the place. If I am talking about a place that is masculine in Spanish, I'm going to have to choose a masculine form. And if I'm choosing a feminine place in Spanish, then I will choose a feminine form, also with singular and plural. So you need to remember about agreements with the articles and the place, the noun. You can also add at the beginning of your sentence, en mi ciudad, in my city, or en mi pueblo, in my town. So let's see some examples to put this together. For example, look at this picture. In my city, there is a stadium. How would I say this in Spanish? En mi ciudad hay un estadio. In my city, there is a stadium. So as you see, I decided to add the beginning of my sentence and mi ciudad. Then I use I, there is or there are. And now, if I want to say, talk about a stadium, in Spanish, a stadium is masculine. And I know that because there is a no at the end of the word. So I'm going to choose the masculine and singular form, un. So a stadium, un estadio. Now look at these pictures. There are many restaurants and many people. So I could say something like, en mi pueblo hay muchos restaurantes y muchas personas. In my town, there are many restaurants and a lot of people or persons. So again here, look at the agreements. Muchos and restaurantes agree together. Both words are masculine and plural. It means that there are more than one. Same with people or persons. Muchas and personas agree together. They are both feminine and plural. So when you're talking about what there is or there are in your city, you need to remember about agreements. Right, now copy the rule in your book. I give you 30 seconds. So when using no I, there isn't or there aren't, the rule changes slightly. We start saying no I, and then we're gonna add the place in town. We cannot use un or una or unos or unas with negative sentences with no I. But we can use muchos or muchas only. So let's see some examples. In this picture, what I want to say is that there isn't a castle. So in Spanish, I say, but no hay castillo. And look at the English, but there is not a castle. So in English, you add that a. But as we say, with no I, in Spanish, we don't add un. So as you see, there is nothing in my negative sentence in Spanish. Let's see another picture. What I want to say is that in this picture, in my city, there is no swimming pool. So, no hay piscina. There is not a swimming pool. And again, in English, you add the a. But in Spanish, we don't add anything. We don't add the una. However, look at this picture. In this picture, I want to say there aren't many parks in my city. No hay muchos parques. There are not many parks. And in this case, with muchos or muchas, yes, with negative sentences, we can add the muchos, as you do in English, by putting many or a lot of. So remember, when we use no I, we don't use un, una, unos, or unas. Copy the rule in your book. 20 seconds.